everybody, welcome to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and here on my YouTube channel, and welcome to another episode of Questions and Coffee with David. This is where I answer all your questions that come in over Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and through email to help you with all your recording questions and concerns in your home studio. So I hope you got your cup of coffee with you as I do here. If you want one of your questions answered in an upcoming episode, please send your question to info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Once again, that's info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I'll be sure to feature your question in an upcoming episode. Now, before we get to this week's questions, if you haven't done so already, I want to give you 5 free mixing training courses over at HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. That's 5 free mixing training courses worth about $110 in value just for checking out HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. So make sure you go over to the homepage, check that out, click on the orange button, register for your 5 free courses today, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all those other places. And make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube if you haven't done so already. So now let's move on to this week's first question and get on with question number 1. Okay, question number 1 comes in from my good friend Neil, and Neil writes in, "Hi David, with your new setup, what are you using to expand your UAD Apollo to give you 16 outputs, and which summing box are you getting, and why did you choose that one? Many thanks, Neil." Well, Neil, thanks for writing in. So if you haven't seen my video on my studio overhaul with all my new gear and my new setup and workflow, go check the archive on my YouTube channel. You'll see the video there. I spent about 25 minutes going through all my new equipment, why I chose the pieces that I did, and what brought on that whole thing there. But to answer your question specifically, Neil, what I'm using to expand my Universal Audio Apollo to give me 16 outputs as opposed to just the 8 that come with the Universal Audio Apollo is a PreSonus Digimax DP88. That using, in conjunction with the Apollo by daisy chaining them together using the ADAT light pipe cables. The interface will, in your DAW, it'll look like one large interface that'll give you now 16 direct outputs. And those outputs are running to the Tegular Audio 40 channel tube summing mixer. Once again, I did a full review of that about a month or so ago. You can go check the archive for that, where we look at it, listen to it, and I walk you through the Tegular Audio summing mixer. Fantastic analog summing mixer, and that's what I'm using to go from my 16 outputs, 8 on the Apollo, 8 on the DP88, into the Tegular Audio summing mixer, sums the audio, brings it back into my DAW on a stereo channel, and that's what I print into Studio One. And you can see all the routing and how that's all configured in the Tegular Audio tube summing mixer review. So thanks, Neil, for writing in. If you have any more questions or you want some more clarification, go ahead and send me another question. I'll be glad to help you. So now let's move on to this week's second question, question number 2. Okay, question number 2 comes in on YouTube and comes in from Doug. And Doug writes in, "Hey Dave, I'm a new subscriber and I love your YouTube channel. Thanks so much for what you do. I visited your website today for the first time and I see you have 3 sets of training material, the Quick Mix, the Made Easy, and the Learning to Mix. For someone like myself who has been recording and mixing on my own for about a year, what course or courses would you recommend me getting first? I'm really interested in making better mixes, and I currently use Studio One as my DAW. I only use stock plugins up to this point, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to make the investment to third-party plugins just yet, but I know I want to do that in the near future. Can you give me some guidance towards the appropriate training? Thanks a million, Doug." Well, Doug, thanks for writing in. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I love the fact that you're learning a lot from the stuff on YouTube. That's great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, to answer your question, yes, on HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, I have 3 sets of training courses. We have the Learning to Mix training courses, which are really the direct content from LearningToMix.com, which is a mixing membership website that I'm a part of with my colleague Pete Woj from MixBetterNow.com, where basically we give you each of us, between Pete and myself, give you about 3 to 4 hours worth of training each, so you get about 6 to 8 hours a month worth of training, where we mix a song in real time from start to finish. So you get to see that mix in real time, both from Pete and myself. A ton of content every month, and then you get to mix the song along with us. That is the LearningToMix.com content. I urge you to go out to LearningToMix.com and check it out. For a very small monthly affordable fee, you get a ton of training on mixing, and you get to see the perspective of Pete and myself, two different engineers, mixing the same song, using 2 different sets of tools and plugins and concepts. Okay, that's Learning to Mix. The Made Easy courses are mixing courses on some level, but the Made Easy courses, depending on the course, focuses on a very specific topic in recording and or mixing. And you'll see there's like 13 or 14 different Made Easy courses at this point. Most of those courses, you'll get the audio files, so you can work alongside me depending on what we're working on. But we do have mixing courses in the Made Easy series. We also have things like EQ and compression Made Easy. And those kinds of things, mixing drums, recording drums. So go check out the Made Easy series. So mastering Made Easy, and there's a whole bunch of others. The Quick Mix series is a series that I put out monthly, where once again, I mix a different song every month using a different set of plugins and tools and maybe some different mixing techniques. So you see something different and can learn something different every month. You get the audio files along that as well, just like learning to mix. But the difference is, in the Quick Mix, all you're getting as far as the video content is concerned, is you're getting about a 45-minute to a 60-minute video of me showing you how I mix the song after I've already mixed it. I do walk you through all the tracks and show you the plugins and a lot of the settings and explain some of the detail, but it's not as in-depth as the learning to mix stuff. The learning to mix stuff, you get to see me mix a song in real time, not after the fact. And there's a lot of benefit to that. Number one, you get a lot more training in learning to mix. Number two, you get to see in real time when problems and issues come up during the course of a mix, how I handle it, and I talk you through it as I'm working through it in real time. So Quick Mix and Learning to Mix are similar, that they're both mixing courses. Quick Mix is an overview, Learning to Mix is in real time and in depth. Okay, so those are the three different types of courses I offer, and some of the difference, some of the explanations between the three. Now, your question specifically is, you've been mixing for about a year using Studio One as your DAW, and you're only really interested, at least at this point, of doing stock plugins. So what I would suggest for you, if you're new to Studio One and only been mixing for about a year, is you probably want to take a look at the series, Mixing in Studio One Made Easy. Okay, that is, I think, a 3 or 4 hour course where you'll get the audio files and we mix a song in Studio One in real time, and we're only using the stock plugins that come with Studio One. Okay, that's something that I would recommend first, especially if you're not into third-party plugins quite yet. Once you've kind of got that under your belt and you feel like you're ready to take the next step, then I would recommend one of two training courses. Either Mixing Made Easy Volume 1, where I use some stock plugins and some third-party plugins. It's the next logical step after mixing in Studio One Made Easy. And then when you're really ready to jump in to third-party plugins, especially if you want to get into the analog style plugins, you absolutely want to get Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy. That course is 15 hours long, many different video sections where we mix with only third-party plugins, and we specifically mix with a lot of the analog style plugins, and we compare different manufacturers. We look at, for example, a tape machine plugin, and we'll look at it from 4 or 5 different manufacturers in A/B and listen to them so we can compare the differences, and I talk you through all of that. So to answer your question, you want to get Mixing with Studio One Made Easy. That's the first thing I would get. Then Mixing Made Easy Volume 1, which is the next step. And then when you're ready to go into those third-party plugins, especially things from Slate Digital, Waves, Universal Audio, the analog style stuff, then you want to go to Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy. So I hope that answers your question. If you want some more detail, email me and I'll respond to you right away and try to help you out. But my goal with Home Recording Made Easy, as I've grown and we've grown this business over the last few years in this website, is I want to have training for everybody. Everyone from the absolute beginner to the more advanced level engineer and home recording musician, and everybody in between. So between Quick Mix, Learning to Mix, and Made Easy, there is literally everything you could possibly want as far as mixing, recording, mastering, and those sorts of things. So Doug, thank you for writing in, and I appreciate the question. And if anyone else has any questions around the training courses, before you buy anything on homerecordingmadeeasy.com, if you're not sure what to get, do exactly what Doug did. Write me in an email, let me know where you're at in your journey of mixing and recording in your home studio, and I'll guide you towards the right course to make sure that you take these courses in a very specific order so you don't feel overwhelmed and frustrated, because that's the key. I want to make this easy for you, okay? So thanks so much, Doug, for writing in, and I appreciate your question. And now we're going to get to the last question of this week's episode, question number 3. Okay, last question for this week's episode comes in from Bobby D through email, and Bobby writes in, "Yo David, longtime YouTube subscriber here. I've noticed that in your recent videos on your YouTube channel has taken a huge step up in quality and production. What did you do to achieve that? I'm trying to do the same thing with my YouTube channel. Any tips you can give would be great. Thanks, Bobby D. Well, Bobby, thanks for writing in. And hey, I appreciate the fact that you noticed that my more recent videos, I'm upping the quality, I'm upping the production value. And it would take me way too long to probably answer this in this particular episode. But basically, what did I do? I really decided from a video perspective that I really upped my game. I went out, all my older videos were really shot with webcams or really, entry-level, consumer-based camcorders with really kind of cheap lighting that I bought on Amazon, and I got some pretty good results with that. But over the last 6 months or so, I really decided that the next step for Home Recording Made Easy is to do different types of video content that is away from the computer and maybe more in the studio, more hands-on stuff. And I wanted to really step up the video quality. And so I went out and invested in professional lighting and a DSLR camera, which I'm using to film this video right now, which is a Canon 80D with a Sigma Art Series lens, a 24mm lens. I got aperture lighting, which you don't see two lights sitting right off to my left and right here, about 1.5 feet away. I've invested in wireless microphones, lapel mics, really good high quality shotgun mics, and that's about the bulk of it. But I mean, I really invested a lot of money in a lot of the gear. And then more importantly, I really took a lot of time, and I'm continuing to take a lot of time. And just like I tell all of you with mixing, recording, and mastering, I invested in the craft of videography, and I'm learning and taking some online classes, and I made the investment to try to educate myself on how to make higher quality video content for all of you so I can get better at what I do, which is exactly the same thing when you're in the mixing, the recording, and the mastering in your home studio. I tell my students and I tell my prospective students all the time, you know, sometimes you have to invest money in your craft to get better at what you do, which is one of the reasons why I have Home Recording Made Easy, right? With all the training courses, and they're so affordable that everybody should own. Anyone that owns one of my courses honestly should probably own every Made Easy series that I have, because it touches on a different aspect of either recording, mixing, or mastering. There's no redundancy there really in the Made Easy series. If you own one of them, you ought to own all of them, because it's everything that you need to make professional sounding productions in your home studio, whether it's recording, mixing, mastering, or all three. And it takes you through a very logical progression as far as your education goes. Because that is the key. You can have all the greatest plugins in the world, you can have all the greatest computers in the world, the greatest microphones, you can have the greatest setup in the world, and if you don't know how to use the stuff properly, you'll never achieve the results that you want to achieve. And it's the same thing with my video. I can have the best cameras, the best lenses, the best lighting, but if I don't learn how to use it and I don't invest in my craft and invest some money and mostly time in the craft of videography, my videos will never get better, and I can't service you, my students. So that's really what I did, Bobby, was really going out and investing in the equipment, and most importantly, learning how to use it. And I appreciate you noticing, because I spent a small fortune on this stuff, but I'm really enjoying it, and it's a challenge for me, just like being a mixing engineer. I always wanted to get better at mixing, and I still do. And I want to get better at filming video, and I'm glad that you've noticed the difference, and I'm trying. I know it's not perfect. I'm working on my editing techniques, and I'm doing all these sorts of things. But once again, that's what I did. I went out and bought cameras and lights, and I really took the time, and I did a lot of research on YouTube, and I made sure that I stayed within my budget, but I made sure I budgeted enough money to do it properly. I wanted to get the right camera, the right lens. And then what I found out almost more than anything, the lighting is so key, and how to properly light. And what's the difference between cheap little LED lights on Amazon that you go buy for 30 bucks versus a professional light by Aputure that costs 700? There's a big difference. Not that you can't get good results with cheaper equipment, you can, but it makes it a heck of a lot easier if you have the right equipment that the professionals use. So that's what I did, Bobby. If anyone has any questions about that, video related, and you wanna maybe, if you're trying to learn and you need some advice, I can really help. You probably save a lot of time and a lot of money, because during this learning process, I learned a lot of what to do, and I also learned a lot of what not to do. And so that's what I did. So thanks so much, Bobby, for writing in. You have any more questions, hit me up again. I'd be glad to help you. And that is it for this week's episode of Questions and Coffee with David. Again, thank you so much for joining me and visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Once again, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that little notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. And if you have not done so already, go get your 5 free quick mix courses right on the homepage. 5 free mixing training courses that is worth $110 I'm giving to you absolutely for free to get you started with your mixing education. And then again, make sure you check out the Made Easy series and all the other courses that I have. And until the next video, I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I will see you guys all soon. Take care.